Some doors should never be opened. The man in the bathroom mirror. Chapter 1. The housewarming. When Emma and I bought the place, everyone kept saying how lucky we were. Big yard. Quiet neighborhood. Just far enough from the city to feel private, but not so far that we couldn't get to work in under 40 minutes. I liked it mostly. The house was older, sure, but solid. Wood floors, heavy doors that shut with a satisfying thud, and a long hallway that ended to the master bedroom. The bathroom was just off the bedroom. Not big, just a narrow space with an old-fashioned sink, a clawfoot tub, and a tall mirror above the vanity. I remember thinking the mirror felt out of place. The frame was ornate, carved with twisting shapes that looked almost like vines or veins. And the glass had a strange, faint silver tint to it. The realtor said it was original to the house, and winked, like that was supposed to make it special. The first glance. We'd been in the house maybe 3 nights when it happened. I was brushing my teeth before bed, half asleep, foam building up in my mouth. I leaned over to spit and caught a flicker of movement in the mirror. It wasn't me. Or rather, it was me, but not. The reflection was a split second behind my actual movements. Like a video with lag. I laughed it off, telling myself I was just tired. Subtle changes. Over the next week, I started noticing more. Tiny differences. If I leaned in close to shave, the reflection's pupils were slightly dilated, even when mine weren't. Sometimes my reflected smile didn't match the one on my face, just a shade too wide, or a fraction too slow to fade. Once, I was sure I saw my reflection's lips move when mine didn't. No sound, just the shape of a word I couldn't quite make out. Asking Emma. I asked Emma if she'd noticed anything weird about the mirror. She rolled her eyes. It's just old. The glass is warped. But that night, I caught her staring at it longer than usual. When she saw me watching, she quickly turned off the light. The first real incident. One morning, I woke early for work. The house was quiet. Emma's still asleep. I flipped on the bathroom light, stepped inside, and froze. The mirror was fogged over. Not just a little from humidity, completely clouded, as if someone had taken a hot shower minutes earlier. But the air was cold. I wiped my hand across the glass. My reflection stared back, except, behind it, in the fog, something else moved. A hand. Not mine. Long fingers, pressed flat against the inside of the glass. I stumbled back, hitting the sink. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. When I looked again, it was gone. Avoidance. I started avoiding the bathroom at night. I'd brush my teeth in the kitchen sink. Shave in the half-bath downstairs. Emma didn't comment, at least not at first. But I noticed she'd begun closing the bathroom door every time she passed it. The whisper. One night, around 1 a.m., I got up for water. As I passed the bathroom, I heard something. A whisper. Soft, almost a sigh, but unmistakable. Let me out. I froze. My skin crawled. My throat tightened. When I opened the door, the light flickered on by itself. The mirror was crystal clear. No fog, no distortion. But my reflection wasn't standing like I was. It was leaning forward, grinning, eyes wide. The shattering. The final night. I was alone. Emma was visiting her sister. A storm had rolled in, rain hammering the roof. The power flickered twice, and I knew I wasn't going to sleep until it settled. I decided, stupidly, to confront it. I went into the bathroom. The mirror stared back, faintly silver in the dim light. "Who are you?" I said, my voice barely above a whisper. The reflection smiled wider. Then, it raised its hand, and the glass cracked from the inside. The sound was sharp, but the break didn't spread like normal. It spiderwebbed outward, the cracks pulsing faintly like veins. A pale hand pushed through the glass. I don't remember what happened after that. Aftermath. When I woke, the mirror was gone. The wall was bare. No shards. No frame. Just a patch of fresh plaster where it had hung. Emma swears we never had a mirror there. But I know better. And sometimes, late at night, when I catch my reflection in a dark window, it's still smiling. The room at the end of the hall. Chapter 1. The house with too many doors. When we first moved into the old boarding house, I chalked everything weird up to its age. It was over a century old, 3 stories high, and full of narrow hallways and doors that didn't seem to lead where they should. We weren't the only tenants. There were maybe 7 of us total, each with our own room. The landlady, Mrs. Calloway, lived on the ground floor. My room was on the second floor, halfway down the hall. The hallway itself always felt wrong. It was too long for the size of the building. At night, it seemed to stretch even further, like it was holding its breath. And at the very end of that hall was a door none of us were supposed to touch. The off-limits door. Mrs. Calloway warned me about it on the first day. "That room is locked for a reason," she'd said, her pale eyes fixed on me. "Don't go near it. Don't try to open it. Don't linger in front of it." She wouldn't say why. Naturally, that made me curious. The door was plain wood, painted white, with an old brass knob. No number, no sign. Just there. Sometimes I swore I could hear faint sounds coming from behind it, slow shuffling, like someone moving barefoot across the floor. First strange night. About 2 weeks in, I was lying in bed around midnight, reading with my headphones on. The hallway light flickered through the crack under my door. Then I heard it. A knock. Soft, measured. From down the hall. I muted the music and listened. Another knock. Then the sound of the knob on the end door rattling, like someone trying to open it from the inside. Other tenants' reactions. The next morning, I casually brought it up to one of the other tenants, a guy named Reed. He went pale. "Don't talk about that door," he said flatly. "Just don't." When I pressed him, he muttered something about things waking up when you acknowledge them, and walked away. The others were no better, either shutting me down or changing the subject. The first mistake. One stormy night, the hallway light blew out. I came out of my room with a flashlight to check the breaker. As I passed the end door, I heard it. A voice. Not loud, just a hoarse whisper right against the wood. "Please help me." I froze. Every instinct screamed to back away. But instead, I stepped closer. Contact. "Who's in there?" I asked. Silence. Then, 3 slow knocks. I don't know why, but I reached out and touched the knob. It was ice cold. Something on the other side pressed against the door in response, soft, like the weight of a hand. And then, I felt fingers wrap around mine, through the metal. I yanked my hand back and stumbled away, heart slamming in my chest. Escalation. Over the next few nights, it got worse. The shuffling behind the door turned into pacing. The whispering grew louder, sometimes repeating my name. Objects in my room, pens, books, my watch, would vanish, only to reappear neatly arranged right in front of the end door. Breaking the rule. One night I snapped. I couldn't sleep. The whispers wouldn't stop. I grabbed my spare key ring. None of them were for that door, but I figured I could at least try. My hand shook as I jammed random keys into the lock. On the 4th try, there was a click. The door eased open by itself, just a few inches. The smell hit me first, damp, metallic like old blood. The room beyond was pitch black, swallowing my flashlight beam like it was nothing. I heard breathing. Slow, deep, and not mine. What I saw, when my eyes adjusted, I made out a shape in the far corner. It was crouched, limbs too long, head tilted at an unnatural angle. It smiled at me, wide, teeth too sharp. Then it started crawling toward the door. I slammed it shut, locked it, and ran back to my room. Aftermath. The next morning, Mrs. Calloway was waiting for me in the hall. Her voice was cold. "You opened it." I started to deny it, but she cut me off. "It's yours now," she said. "Once you open it, it follows you." I didn't understand what she meant until I moved out a week later. In my new apartment, there's a door at the end of the hall that wasn't there before. Plain wood, painted white, with an old brass knob. And sometimes it knocks.